Hello. Uh, let's see. I'm getting prepared to just about set up to make my LPB. I've still got the skin kit left to get here, but I've got just about everything else set up. But prep for it. What I'm gonna do is make a paddle or two before that, and I've made a couple of Greenland paddles before. One with kind of following Brian's instructions mostly. This I was able to find some really nice cedar locally here. Um, that is just 2x4s. Able to get out of that, and so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna split one of them and see how that, and then to laminate it with this little bit of, this is poplar, just a little thin strip of poplar to give a little line in the middle, just to be extra and do, you know, see if I can't make things complicated. So I'm going to do that, and so I'll show the process of that. And there you go. Okay. These are all the big clamps that I have, so that's all I can use. I would like to have double this amount, but I didn't plan ahead for this. I just did it. So, but I have a bunch of Gorilla Glue um, oozing out everywhere. I've made sure that the poplar is sticking through the back side, and that the board's pretty even, especially in the middle, where is the only place I need to have it, a full thickness, and the rest of it can be less than full thickness, obviously, because the end of the paddle's much thinner. And so I think I'll have good contact all the way through here. And yeah, it seems to be really tight. I've glued stuff together before similar to this, but with just wood glue. And of course, that doesn't expand at all. So I'm hoping that, and it was much rougher. This is two pieces that are meeting a flat piece. The last time I tried this kind of thing, it wasn't flat, and it just wasn't very good. So this should do pretty good. I've got stuff sticking out the backside, and it seems like there's good pressure everywhere. So, all right, we'll see how that goes. Okay, now I just got to get this down to 3.5 inches or so, and it'll maybe thin a little bit more as I'm sanding and whatnot. So I got to take, this is exactly 4, so I got to take a 1/4 inch off each side. So I'm just going to plane it. Okay, I've got the initial line set out for the shape, and so I'm going to cut those out with my circular saws, careful as I can.
It's the best saw I have for that. I don't have a table saw or bandsaw or anything like that. I'm not going to show that in case I mess it up.
Okay, so I'm at this point here. Got the all the rough shape done and everything. And at this point, we're supposed to use a plane to get all the way close to just the finished standing, according to Brian. But my plane is horrible. My hand plane, so it's horrible. It just destroys everything. So what I use is I just get some 40 40 grit sandpaper and just aggressively work it to the shape that I want, and then I go with a light sand and just finish it off from there. I mean, I've only made a couple paddles before, but it's easier for me to do that than to try and plane stuff down, and then I got to sand it anyway aggressively because I get a bunch of tear out. So, all right.
Okay, so here's my almost finished paddle. Uh, can't remember what the last video I was shooting was, but it's all sanded down. I did the 40 grit to get the final shape instead of a plane, like I said, because my plane's horrible. And I can get a lot of stuff off, and if I move it pretty quick, it works pretty good. And then I went to 120 and got it down a lot more, and then did hand did it with the 220, and that's pretty good. This is I really like the way the line came out. Looks you know pretty cool for something I did, and yeah, so it's a little thick. It was a little heavy last night. When I finished it, it was 2 pound. Let's see, how was it? Anyway, it dried. The wood's really wet, or was wet. I guess hoping it's still going to dry some more and lighten up a little bit, because it dried almost a full ounce last night. Enough water just left the blade, left the paddle to make it uh, lighter. And so it was like this paddle here is the last one I did, and it's got varnish on it and everything. And I still got to varnish this and stuff, but I want to let it dry first. But this one is thinner but longer. It's about almost 3 inches longer, and so I wanted and the new paddle was almost exactly the same weight, just like a half an ounce lighter than this one. And my point of making this new one shorter, was to make it lighter. So I'm gonna let it dry for another day and weigh it and see how it goes. And then if I need to, I'm gonna take some thickness especially out of the ends, because it's a little stiff. It's definitely stiffer and thicker than the other paddle, and so I want to you know I want it to be lighter. I want it to be nice and strong, but if it gets another half ounce lighter, I probably won't take it down anymore, which will mean, just getting after it again with the 40 grit and stuff. The weight probably comes. It's thicker in the loom. I usually do a thinner loom. It's not, it's much thinner than what, like, Brian recommends. This one's closer. It does feel more comfortable when you hold it, but it's, I don't know. I'm an old Euro blade user, and I'm still getting used to having the thicker thing, and that's the only way I can really get weight off it. And I think the poplar probably keeps the weight up just a tiny bit. It's a little heavier than the cedar, so I have another blank, and I'm going to go make another one and see how that one goes. And I think I'm not going to do any laminations on that one. Just do a straight, try and get a real light one. But anyway, if it doesn't lighten up a little more, I'm gonna, even though it's a really nice shape on it that should work well in the water, I would want to try it thinner. I don't know. I might paddle with it first. Anyway, that's it. Next, I'll be doing the LPB pretty soon here. I've got to order the skin yet and go find the cedar for the gunnels and stringers. But I already have the ribs and the combing and the kit and all that stuff. So it's getting pretty close.